Welcome back to the secret underground lair. I now have the router sled for the Z-axis mounted in the, and it moves up and down. It's a little stiff, but it does move up and down. I'm okay with it being a little stiff at the moment. That keeps it rigid. And the next piece is going to be mounting the stepper motor onto the top here to draw the motor up and down, give us our height. I have 3D printed a little bracket, embedded some M5 bolts. This will screw on here, or will bolt onto that piece. The stepper motor, of course, bolts onto that bracket. And the stepper motor will be connected to a threaded rod to give us the vertical movement. Now, how I'm connecting this threaded rod to the stepper motor is with a piece of brake hose. This is a reinforced hose, and I have used this in the past quite successfully, and it provides a level of isolation from the two components and gives a little bit of wiggle room, quite literally, because the hose can flex. So, getting movement on the Z-axis. That is today's adventure. I have a rather long piece of hose here. I only need to get about this much. I have drilled a hole in the shaft of the stepper motor and ground down the head of this threaded rod a little bit and drilled a hole in there. Now I'm just going to cut this hose off, just using an X-Acto knife. And I now have the hose where I want it. What I want to do now is drill a hole in this hose, because my intention is to use a pin to go through there, and that way I can avoid using clamps on this, because there's not a lot of room in this little mechanism for a hose clamp that would typically be used. So I am going to drill a little hole to accommodate that. Right about there. Back in a second. Okay, with the hole drilled, I'm now using just a little small nail. It's a little small ring nail. I have these around that I've used for various purposes. So I just put the nail in that hole there. Of course, finding the hole in the shaft is a little bit of a challenge, but I was able to get that. And now I'm just going to push that nail all the way through, and it will poke through the hose on the far side. There we are. Now, the reason I wanted to poke through the hose and not drill that hole through is that I want that to be a pressure fit. I don't want that nail to pop out easily. So in fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut that nail off. And this is now mounted securely here. Next, I can put this shaft onto this and put the nail through there. And that will have these two guys joined together very effectively. Let me go get another nail, I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a nail, I just poked it in there just to hold it. Slide that into here. Just gauging how far I need to push this on. That should be about right. And like I said before, finding that hole is always a bit of a challenge, but it is possible. There we are, got it. Now I'm just going to drive that right through. Just going to go over to the vise and push that through and drive it with a hammer. There we are, just tap that through with a hammer. Now I'm going to clip these nails off. And that is held in very tightly. Now slide onto that mount like so, and spin quite freely in that hole. So I'm very pleased with that result. Next, just going to put the nuts on here and then figure out where to mount this on the back of that, on the back of the bracket. All right, we got the motor mounted, the bracket put on the base, and we actually now have motion. Moving considerably better than what we had before. I'll just move that up again. So there we are. We now have all three axes working properly. I'm very pleased with the result of this. It's a much more stable setup than what we had before. A stronger motor on the top, faster action on the Z-axis. This is going to be much better. So I'm going to put together a little program to do a little bit of test cutting. We'll do that. But I'll bring that out probably on our next video. So again, just a quick update. The Z-axis is now working. It's alive! I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.